We continue on with our discussion of the various categories of consequence that can follow a behavior and the effect of those consequences upon that action. I'm your narrator for these sessions in our mini series on consequences, Tom McIntyre of Behavior Advisor. We are going to be looking at the effects of punishment, positive punishment, and negative punishment. Yes, we so often hear, punish them. It's the only thing they understand. And when teaching them a lesson doesn't, they engage in more of what already isn't working. Yes, as Mark Twain said, to a man with a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Perhaps when they say it's the only thing those kids understand, perhaps it's the only thing that the person saying it understands, or perhaps misunderstands. When punishment befalls them and their behavior, we often hear the punitive ones crying, "Why'd you do it to me? You didn't have to do that." Yes, Cervantes was right. It's one thing to praise punishment, but another one to submit to it. Oh yeah, some of us have heard that statement, and we knew at the time that we certainly didn't like what was going to come next, the consequence for our errant action. But did we realize that there were two types of punishment? One being positive punishment, which again seems to be an oxymoron, almost like negative reinforcement. What could positive punishment be? Oh yes, we've got to remember to stay away from the emotional definitions of terms like positive and negative. We want to look at the mathematical, the math line, the number line meanings for positive and negative. By positive punishment, it means that we are adding on more of the awful thing, creating more on the positive end of the number line for punishment. So positive punishment, we are giving more of something that is found to be aversive, awful, punishing. Some examples of positive punishment: spanking, the infliction of pain, okay? Giving them pain, spanking. Boredom, giving them time with their mind not being occupied. Giving more homework, extra chores at home. How about negative punishment? Because of what you've done, we are taking something you thought you had as a privilege, as a prize, we're taking it away from you. Something desirable is going to be removed. What are some examples of you just lost, fill in the blank, finish the sentence. You just lost your driving privileges for the next 3 days. You've just lost TV time, computer time. You will have time outside. You have lost your free time outside of school to socialize with friends. We're timing out your favorite toy or digital device. You will not have access to it. We're taking away recess time or free choice time from 3 o'clock to 3:30. So as we look at the definitions here for positive positive punishment and negative punishment, we'll see that positive punishment, again, something you dislike is being added on. For negative punishment, we are taking something away. We're creating a void. We're creating an absence of something. We're taking something desirable away. We had mentioned in an earlier segment that there are problems with punishment. Why don't you pause the video here and think of some of the drawbacks the concerns we have regarding the use of punishment. All sorts of things can go wrong. We can create physical harm if we were to strike that youngster or to handle that youngster roughly. We can cause emotional harm as we reject that child. The kids come to fear us. That's not something we as parents or educators wish to have. The kids come to dislike us. Certainly that's not something that we wish to attain. The kids think that you don't like them. This is where we've got to get into what's known as symptom estrangement. Separate the kid from the behavior. I hate that behavior. It must cease and desist. But youngster, I will work with you to get rid of that behavior. Hate the behavior, work with the kid. The kids think you don't like them, okay? The punishment might not be as strong, as powerful, have as much magnitude as the rewards that the youngster obtains for that behavior. They say, well, while I don't like what you're doing, it isn't enough to make me stop, because in the balance of things, I'm getting more rewards than punishment. Yeah, the kids avoid you. Who wouldn't avoid punishing situations? Negative reinforcement. It feels good not to be punished. So kids avoid us or just learn to be sneakier so that we don't catch them. What we think is a punishment might actually be a reinforcer. Teacher, while you did something that you thought was awful, there was some redeeming value in it. That you gave me eye contact. You talked at me rather than with me, but you still gave me attention, the time of day. You spent time in my presence. And for a kid who doesn't know how to get that positive sort of connection with others, hey, I'll take what I can get. At least I get the trappings of belonging and connection. Remember, it's not punishment unless the behavior is reduced in one of its dimensions: magnitude, frequency, duration. Okay? Punishment is only a punishment if it reduces the behavior. And another problem with punishment is it doesn't teach. You've told the youngster what not to do, but the youngster doesn't know what he or she should be doing. We haven't taught a replacement behavior. Yes, when punishment is heavily out of balance with reinforcement, a lot of negative outcomes can pop up. When punishment is the default response to behavior, and there's very little positivity, that brings a break in the relationships, along with undesirable results. Wow, there's more? Yeah. People who are punishers tend to keep using it. That Mark Twain quote. Gee, we're using our biggest, baddest punishment, and the kid laughs at us. You're kidding me. You're going to hold that over my head? You're threatening me with that? You don't know what happens in other life spaces in my life. You don't know what I experience in other places. I laugh at your big gun. And some other penalties, other problems with penalties. It destroys the student-teacher bond. The best thing we have going for us in classroom management is kids liking, admiring, respecting us, because it's human nature to want to perform well for people that we enjoy being with. We injure their self-esteem. Students become immune to punishment. Just being a guy, periodically I have to turn into one of these channels on TV that shows these men who get into this caged arena and they can do anything to each other, absolutely anything. And I watch one of them hit another and I go, oh my goodness, if that had hit me, I would be down on my knees crying like a baby. It just angers the opponent. The opponent says, I've been hit like this before. No big deal. I can continue on. Students become immune to our punishment too. We want to go positive whenever possible. The students rebel. How dare you treat me in this manner? And they threaten you, or they engage in some awful behavior for us, trying to get us to back down from implementing our punishment. They impose a bigger punishment. We decide, oh, I'm not going to put up with that. And we impose a bigger punishment. And they come back with something that they know we dislike at a more powerful level. And we get in a negative reinforcement battle as each hopes the other one will back down, will stop to keep that awful thing away, make it go away. And yeah, we don't teach anything new, so the kids keep their default responses. When someone says they're teaching that kid a lesson, we've got to ask, are they really doing so? Let's take a closer look. And we'll take a closer look at my recollection of a conference that I had with a parent. This parent was very concerned about his son's behavior. He believed that punishing his son was the best way to get his child to comply with us in school and with him at home. And while it is a bit dramatic, perhaps, it does have illustrative quality. It can give us a deeper look into the problems with punishment. So I'm meeting with this father during the teacher parent conference night, and we're talking about various things. Then we get to the behavior of Anthony, and I say, well, what do you do when Tony shows that behavior? I come up on him and give him a licking, a spanking right quick. Well, maybe we come up with another way that you might deal with that behavior in the home. We've got some ideas that we've tried here that we're finding to be effective. What for? It works. I give him the palm of my hand, he stops. How often do you spank Tony? Sure, man, sometimes 3-4 times a day. Sometimes my hand's bruised at the end of the day. Gee. Here we see a phenomenon that is oftentimes seen when we're talking about people who punish. They see the immediate effect of their punishment. Yes, punishment, if it's strong enough, will stop a behavior in its tracks. But we haven't taught anything new to replace that behavior, so that behavior keeps popping up 3 and 4 times a day in Tony's situation. So, is he really teaching him a lesson? Has it worked if the behavior continues on? I can see that we've gone a bit in this segment in our mini-series on consequences, so we'll stop it here, and hopefully you will then rejoin me for our quiz in the next segment.